We're going to be talking about new releases today and my impressions of them. So this is a video where I have actually tried the fragrances with the exception of one that I could not get my hands on. But can we start with talking about how the year 2024 was the year of the invasion of the body mists, body sprays all over the place. There were about 3 or 4 brands that just went bananas, maybe more, maybe 5 or 6, went absolutely crazy on releasing body sprays, body mists here, there, and everywhere, body mist versions of some of their perfumes, new versions. I mean, I couldn't even keep up. I am not a body mist gal. This is not the channel for you if that is what you are looking for. I'm so sorry. I can't get into the body mist thing, mostly because I went through a period of time where I purchased a bunch from Bath and Body Works and from some other brands and found that I just never reached for them. I do have a few Sol de Janeiro body mists still in my collection that I really enjoy. And I have one Bath and Body Works body mist called Boardwalk Taffy that has stood the test of time. Other than that, I have really decluttered all of those. So I can't get into those. The bottles don't attract me. It's a no for me. So let's talk about the fragrances that I have had an opportunity to try. And we need to talk. There's a fragrance here that you all have drug through the YouTube streets of mud. This poor little fragrance has been tarred and feathered to death. And I have to say, I don't quite understand the hate. I have seen reviews on this, both on YouTube. I read reviews online. In fact, I'm looking at some of the Fragrantica reviews now, and it says, it smells literally horrendous. This version is shockingly bad. I had high hopes and it's the biggest disappointment of 2024. It smells astringent. It's a scrubber. I couldn't stand it. It made me nauseous or nauseated. I wanted to wash it off. Holy cow. So I had to check out for myself. Are these reviews true? Is there a fragrance out there that is just making people fall ill by the masses? Is that possible? I marched my little self up into Sephora. I went downstairs to get me a cold pop. Let me know if you know that reference. And I sprayed myself with Burberry Goddess Intense. That is the fragrance that we are talking about. This little girl has been put on trial and convicted and put away to jail already by the masses. I had to find out for myself. I sprayed her on and I walked around Sephora, and the first maybe sniff or two, I thought, I guess I can see how people may not be that into this because the lavender in the fragrance was a little bit sharp. But I'm going to tell you what, that lasted for me. My experience, no more than about 30 to 45 seconds, and then it mellowed out. And what started to emerge for me was a beautiful, deep, easygoing vanilla. Listen. The market is saturated right now with vanilla after vanilla after vanilla. You have your really sort of candy, gourmand, sugary vanillas on one end, syrupy, from there all the way to the deep, dark, sexy, like incensey, smoky vanillas on the opposite end and everything in between. For me, this is somewhere in between. I have to say, and maybe some of you will unsub and not want to hear my reviews anymore because you were one of the people that thought that this was completely intolerable, and so you won't trust my thoughts after this. I don't get the hate for this fragrance. I did end up purchasing a travel spray because I'm heavy on my travel spray game right now because I'm trying not to clutter up my shelves with more until I do a little bit more curating. If I didn't already have Burberry Goddess, the original, which I also enjoy very much, I would consider purchasing at least a small bottle of this. For me, I really enjoyed the vanilla in the dry down. I'm wearing it here today, at least on this hand. And speaking of hands, forgive me, you will notice in this video that my hands look very, very strange. The palms of my hands are darker than the rest of my pale arms, and that is called a self-tanning disaster. The solution settled on my palms, and they look a little crazy, but I promise you I am okay. No need to send medical help. Let's go on. It smells, listen, don't throw the tomatoes. It smells a little bit to me like Parfums de Marly Altair. No one has compared it to that. And I'm talking about in the dry down. No one has compared it to that. And I'm only thinking about that because I recently tried Altair again and thought, I really think I do like this fragrance. And so when I tried Burberry Goddess Intense, there were similarities, not twins, but same kind of family. It's the type of thing with vanillas. And I have at least 3 or 4 vanillas that I'm going to talk about today, where after a while they start to smell pretty similar with very sort of subtle differences because there are so many vanillas on the market right now to compare. The fragrance here, this one, let's stick to talking about this, I would say is very sort of moderate in projection. And then it gets softer skin scent about 3 hours in or so, at least when I tested it. And I'm testing it again here and I'm having a similar experience. And I think the lasting power overall is pretty good. The original Burberry Goddess has a little bit less sort of shelf life on you. It does get kind of closer to the skin. That one is maybe a little bit smoother. It has softer lavender. The lavender is a little bit loud in the opening, but as I mentioned, it pretty quickly settles down into a very tolerable lavender, in my opinion. In fact, as it starts to settle down, it gives me memories of Naxos from Xerjoff very faintly. Not, again, not a one-to-one comparison, but I had a sort of similar, like, oh, you know, this could be a cousin to Naxos, at least as it starts to dry down. But in the deep dry down, I'm getting vibes of something in the neighborhood of like Altair. This whole patchouli hate, can we talk about it? I am very understanding of the fact that people have different tolerance for different notes. I guess I'm just a little bit surprised, I will say, at the recent, and I'm talking about recent as in like the last year or two, fervent hatred of patchouli all over social media. I don't understand that, especially for those of you that have been around for a few years, you're a little bit more seasoned, and you remember that there was patchouli in a lot of older fragrances. And it was probably like a prominent feature. I happen to enjoy patchouli. Do I want to bathe myself in patchouli all the time? No, but people have walked by me wearing patchouli oils and I have thought to myself, they smell good, especially if it's a nice oil. If it's a cheap patchouli oil, they can keep it. But a really nice, sophisticated patchouli oil smells really, really good on folks, especially in warmer weather, surprisingly. So I'm not understanding the deep hatred, aversion, repulsion for patchouli that is showing up on social media these days. If you understand that, please help me understand. The only thing I can figure out is because we're living in a world where people are like obsessed with gourmands, and I do like gourmands too, but I don't have the obsession that people do, that anything that doesn't smell like that seems repulsive to people. Does that sound about right? Let me know. And I'm not judging. I really am not. I'm just kind of surprised by how fervently people are hating patchouli these days. That said, I don't get a lot of patchouli in this. And I know patchouli pretty well. If anything, hints in the dry down, that's it. I wouldn't call this a patchouli dominant or heavy fragrance. So again, I'm surprised that so many of the reviews are pointing out that it's patchouli heavy, but the patchouli takes over, the patchouli ruins the fragrance. I don't know why I'm having such a different experience. For me, this is a vanilla dominant fragrance. Weigh in the comments below. If you were one of the people that couldn't stand this and you wanted to scrub it off, let us know in the comments. You will not offend me, and I hope I did not offend you. And if you're someone who likes this, but you're afraid to speak up because everybody's hating this fragrance, tell us in the comments too, okay? All right, so before we move on, Burberry Goddess Intense gets a thumbs up from me. Like I said, I'm not rushing out to buy a bottle because I have the original right now, but I don't have anything against this, and I'm gonna use up this travel spray. Let's go on. Okay, one that I could not get my hands on yet. I don't think it's even available in the US as of the time of me filming it. And believe me, I have looked everywhere for this. It is Devotion Intense from Dolce & Gabbana. I think a lot of us are sort of eagerly anticipating the release of that fragrance, especially those of us that liked the original. So people are of two minds. They either like the original and found it to be this sweet, vanillic, lemony, dreamy fragrance, or people just did not get with it and they thought that it was maybe like, smelled like a household cleaner, or it was too sharp on the lemon or something. So this one is supposed to be a little bit heavier on some of the floral aspects, and it has like, is it a hazelnut note? Hang on a minute. Yes, it has a hazelnut note at the top. So we'll see about this fragrance. It still has orange blossom and vanilla. I don't see lemon listed as one of the notes. I see the top note is hazelnut, but again, we'll see when this comes out, and I definitely want to try it, and I will keep you all apprised as soon as I'm able to try that, but I'm sure there'll be a million reviews online about this fragrance. Okay, I'm also giving a general thumbs up, and I'm going to tell you why I say general thumbs up to Gucci Flora Gorgeous Orchid. Cute yellow bottle. The bottle for this, it looks like the regular Flora line where it's different colors and, you know, they have the floral sticker on the top. I'm not particularly enamored with the bottles, but that's okay. I don't dislike them either. So I like the idea of this, and I think it is a little bit daring, particularly in today's gourmand heavy market. Is the first ozonic floral gourmand fragrance. I like the use of the term ozonic to describe this, and I think that's right. It infuses a gourmand scent with a fresh perspective on vanilla. Top note is vanilla. You have vanilla orchid, which is a lovely, for me, like almost like a sweet floral note. And then there's ozonic notes in the base. And so I like this. Do I think it's groundbreaking and innovative? Not necessarily, but it is a little bit different in today's market. And I like that it is a bright, sort of airy vanilla. It's reminding me of some other fragrances that I've tried this summer, in an effort to find fragrances that are going to do well in high heat. I can't remember what those are for the life of me, but I do enjoy this. I do think that it is bright in nature. The vanilla adds a lot of femininity, this sort of sweet, girly aspect to it. And the texture of it is light and ozonic, sort of airy, hovering, giving you the sense of like freshness after a storm, that kind of sense. And so in that sense, it is original in some ways. This feels like a lighter fragrance to me. I've tested on skin, and you do have to hover close to it, at least for me, to sniff it. Let me know if you've had a different experience. I have not been able to test this out in the wild and see how people react to this. I've only tested this at home, but I would like to keep wearing it. And I might be interested in a bottle of this. So I want to see how it wears on me more. It's pretty soft wearing, and one that I think would be very safe for office environments, particularly if you're looking for something that's sweet and girly, but not intrusive or nauseating, because it has that fresh, light airiness about it. So this is a thumbs up. I've been avoiding this next brand, I have to say, and I'm just going to go on and apologize to the brand for not paying it enough attention. When I would walk into Sephora and try these, I'd be like, And here's the thing. We're talking about Phlur, by the way, Phlur, which is getting a whole lot of attention right now. Here's the thing, as I have said before, when you try fragrances in store, I've been to Sephora over the weekend. I've been to Ulta. I went to Saks Fifth Avenue. I went to Neiman Marcus. And you're just inundated with scents everywhere. There are people spraying stuff all up in the air. It's getting all up in your nose. You're getting nose blind to things. Everything smells the same. Everything smells watery, watered down, boring, blah. It really has to be a powerhouse fragrance to sort of stand out in that kind of environment. And that's just not a really fair way to test fragrances. So my apologies, Flora. I did you wrong. I did you dirty. The other thing is, I really like the old bottle designs that were sort of the white architectural looking cubes that look like the Guggenheim Museum. If you remember that from previous videos, I had two of those fragrances before, and I kind of got irritated that Fleur changed up their bottle design. But I have to say, I recently took a look again, and they're growing on me a lot. So let me first apologize to Missing Person, which is not new. I think this was out earlier last year, which is a nice skin scent, your skin but better, woody, molecular-ish kind of scent. So, but that's not what we're talking about. We're here to talk about vanilla skin. Vanilla skin. So I do like this fragrance. I appreciate that it's simple. There are some simple fragrances that are just no, do better, fragrance creator. Do better, perfumer. But I have to say, this vanilla skin really works nicely if you're the kind of person that just wants something to hug you, hug your skin, project off of you just ever so lightly and slightly, where someone has to be in your scent bubble to smell you, and you want to smell good, some kind of good. This vanilla skin is on the money. Now that I think about this, this reminds me a little bit of, it's Angel's Dust from Fugazi. Yeah, it's kind of like that. It has a little hint of spice from a pepper note. I get mostly that and this sort of soft, really delicate, very airy vanilla sitting on sandalwood. That's it. This, for me, if I had to describe this in an item, it's a very fuzzy sweater with a hint of vanilla perfume on the sweater. The sweater has a little bit of your natural sort of skin scent on it, and then there's a little bit of vanilla poking through, and the softness of the sweater has a smell to it. That is vanilla skin. So I'm giving this kind of thumb, not all the way up because it is so soft. You have to really be into soft kinds of fragrances for this to be a winner for you. And I might want a bottle of that, and I might want a bottle of Missing Person. I haven't tried the others from the line outside of Sephora. So if you think there are ones that I should really give a good sniff to, enough to purchase a travel spray, let me know. I also had the chance to try Alien Hypersense. I'm an Alien girl. It is in my top 10, the original Eau de Parfum, in my top 10 for life. Love that fragrance. I don't care what anybody has to say about it, how that gets dragged through the mud, the same way that our girl, Burberry Goddess Intense, has been dragged through the fragrance streets. I'm going to tell you, Alien Hypersense smells a lot like the original. This one is supposed to be different in having a fruity note at the top. A pear note, I believe, is what's different. And it does give it a little bit of sweetness in the opening, but the dry down of the fragrance is very much like OG Alien, except softer. It's a little bit of an airier version, not quite as sort of thick and punch you in the face as the original Alien. but it's alien through and through. The bottle on this is really pretty with the different sort of effects of the colors. I would say this is like a fresher take on alien, but it's got the alien DNA through and through with a little bit of maybe a splash of pear in the opening of this. So if you like alien, this is for you. If you're not an alien person, just pass, leave this one alone, keep going. Let's talk about some other stuff. So then, did we forget that Dolce & Gabbana also released an intense version of Q? Because I haven't really heard anyone talk about this fragrance. I think people mentioned it, that it was coming out, and then I really haven't seen anyone review this. I will tell you this fragrance is very different on paper than it is on skin. So on skin, I get this floral, citrusy, woody, slightly powdery concoction that to me isn't like very reminiscent of the original. They could be really different fragrances. On paper, I get more of that cherry nuance. The cherry in here is dark, it's ambery, it's a little bit thicker, and it sort of reminds me of French Defense from Mind Games. Not at all the same, but like this could be a really sort of much lighter interpretation of that fragrance. And so I also give this a thumbs up. This isn't one that I would rush out and buy a full bottle of. In fact, well, we'll talk about that at the end of the video, like which ones I would really, me personally, be interested in buying a full bottle of. But if you don't have the original Q and the sound of something like that is intriguing to you and you would like to spray on your clothes, you're a clothing sprayer, you might get some of that cherry ambery nuance on your clothing with this. It doesn't particularly stand out to me as a fragrance on skin or on blotter, but I also don't have anything against it. So this will get like a sideways thumb from me. I'll probably use up this travel spray and maybe not think about purchasing a bottle. And then forgive my review of the next one because I'm pretty sure it is actually a fine fragrance, a great fragrance, maybe even for vanilla lovers. I think I am kind of sort of vanillaed out. Is that possible? I have like 2 shelves of vanillas in my collection and a lot of other fragrances away from those shelves that actually have heavy vanilla in them alongside other accords. And so maybe that's it. Maybe it's that I have had my fill of vanilla and I'm a little bit jaded. This is a nice fragrance. This is from Nest and this is vanilla bourbon. You know, I love all the little artwork on these bottles. They're so cool. The fragrance itself, I would describe as a very nice vanilla. It has a booziness to it, like you would get in Note Vanille from M. Micallef, those kinds of boozy vanillas. It has the brown sugar of Vanilla 28 from Kayali. It has this butteriness to it. Maybe I need to take a nap and like wake up and try this again to appreciate it. But right now I'm like, I've smelled this before. There's a lot of this type of fragrance out on the market. In Dolce Hota, that type of deal where you get vanilla, you get vanilla, and then there's other notes sort of sprinkled around it, but it's a vanilla fragrance. And so let it take its place among the really nice vanillas of today for now. And I may nap, wake up, and then tell you about this in another video and tell you that I love it. I don't know. I'm a little vanilla'd out. I kind of prefer, of the vanillas that I'm trying here, Vanilla Skin from Phlur, only because it's a little bit more intriguing and interesting because of the peppery nuances and maybe a slight woodiness in the background, whereas this one comes across like a straight up boozy vanilla with some sugar added in. A fine offering into the vanilla world. We'll play with this again. It's late at night and I'm tired. And I understand there are more vanillas coming out too, like a lot more. Isn't Replica coming out with a vanilla-based fragrance? Yeah, okay. I'm saving the best for last, and this is not the best, and it's not last. But maybe it is last in terms of my preference from the overall list of fragrances for today, and I'll do a recap at the end. This is from YSL Libre Flowers and Flames. Flowers and Flames. I'll tell you, this smells a little bit like the original Libre and a little bit of the Alien EDT, the more sort of watered down version. I get that here, and even that together flattened out with some of the body yaddy taken out of both fragrances, because both of those fragrances, the original Libre and the EDT even of Alien, has some body to it, even though it's a lighter version of the EDP Alien. This is like the perfume equivalent of a flat soda. I kind of like flat soda. I'm the crazy person that actually takes the straw and gets all the fizz out of the soda. I like it flat, but I don't like my perfumes to smell flat. There's nothing wrong with this fragrance. I don't dislike it. It's floral, it's citrusy, it's got a little bit of lavender, and it has this freshness to it, but there's just a flatness to it that I find particularly unforgivable at these rising price points for some of these designer fragrances. So with that said, I don't think we needed this. We didn't need this flanker. I'm sorry, YSL. But you know, this is why we try things out, and I may be passing this along to someone as a travel spray and see if they like it. All right, so we are going to round it up with my favorite of the bunch that I tested. This is the Champion Lover. Where are my late 80s, early 90s dance hall reggae fans? Champion Lover, know he's up tonight. Yeah, Shabba ranks. Shabba! Maxi Priest and Shabba. Oh, I'm showing it. Let me talk about it. Okay, from Kayali, Maui in a bottle, sweet banana, 37. I didn't buy the whole set of that, like vacation in a bottle 4-pack of 4, because Kayali, you ain't gonna get me like that. No, really. I was interested in the set, but I don't know, you guys. I felt like it was like a little girl's play set of perfumes rather than like a grown-up's full bottle of perfume. And so I was like, y'all not going to play me and have me out here paying for 4 bottles of perfume and I can't even test them. I would have bought it, but I don't know. I just did not. So I saw people talking about this having a banana note and really loving it, and it's smelling tropical and fantastic. And so when I saw that they went on sale individually on Sephora, I added this little cutie to cart, and she came home with some of these other travel sprays. I do love the color of the bottle, and I'm bringing up the color because this reminds me of something. How come y'all ain't telling everybody out here, folks that have reviewed this, tell me that this doesn't smell like Miami Nectar to you? Come on, tell the people the truth. It smells like Miami Nectar with an added creamy banana note. And I love it for that. They're not the same fragrance, so just so you know, but they're really similar. The bottle color reminds me one of the other. I like the Miami Nectar, the bluer bottle there. It's a more deeper turquoise. Why can't I talk? A deeper turquoise. I really like this. This is creamy and sweet and coconutty and fun summer freshness. So if you think about Miami Nectar as having more of that, it's a pink pineapple note that's in there, sort of like a more vibrant pineapple that has some zing and zest to it. This is a little creamier and sweeter from that banana note. There's coconut and vanilla in here too. And I hope that Kayali sells this in big bottles, because I would absolutely purchase a big bottle of this. It is like quintessential summer fragrance. Really, really lovely. It's moderate at best in longevity and projection, so it ain't gonna last you forever. But you know, that's all right. That's all right. We don't necessarily need our summer fragrances to take us deep into the evening. So this is the winner of the bunch. If this comes in a big bottle, Veronica will be purchasing. We do the recap. I would absolutely consider a large bottle of the gorgeous Orchid, Gucci Flora Gorgeous Orchid, for that airy, easygoing, pretty girl vanilla that isn't too cloying or sickeningly sweet. It's just the right touches of sweetness and that ozonic, airy nature to it. Really like that. Hypersense I'm going to pass on because I like my original Alien better, and it dries down into close to that anyway. I would probably consider a full bottle of Vanilla Skin. And if I didn't already have the OG Burberry, I need to go to sleep. If I didn't already have the original Burberry Goddess bottle, I would definitely consider Burberry Goddess Intense. Stop hating on Burberry Goddess Intense. She ain't never hurt nobody. She ain't never hurt nobody. All right, so that is my review. The others I would likely pass on. I will, though. I'm gonna visit Vanilla Bourbon again because I think I'm being a little biased because I'm a little tired, and I've tried 9,489 vanillas in the past year and a half, 2 years, and like, how many different variations of vanilla can we have? Actually, I'm gonna answer my own question. This is a vanilla worth trying. Vanilla 12 noon. I was going to say midnight, but it's vanilla 12 o'clock or 12 noon or something, from Francesca Del Oro. I reviewed this in my new beauties video if you want to see a fuller review. This is a little bit of a unique and different vanilla offering where I feel like Vanilla Bourbon, we've smelled this. It's been done. It's been done. Do we really need another one? I don't know. I'll try it more and keep y'all abreast of my thoughts. All right, friends, all jokes aside, because you know we like to joke here. Let us know what you think of these fragrances, which ones you like, which ones you hate. Tell everything in the comments, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for hanging out with me today.